Books. What will we do without books? Books. What will we do without books? Among the things that I love about books is that it exposes me to a lot of cultures, a lot of backgrounds, a lot of ideas, a lot of themes, a lot of writing style, connects me to different people from different backgrounds, and it's just been an awesome experience. I'm so grateful that I joined the online bookish community, and because of that I became aware of Asian American Pacific Island Heritage Month, which I've been taking part in every May, except last year. Last year I was in a bit of a slump, and so today I want to share some of the books that I've enjoyed that has come out from this community, and I will proudly recommend. Hi guys, my name is Omeno Michelle, and if you are a return viewer, karibu sana. And if you are new to this channel, yes, it's me that you've been looking for. Me. If you love books, if you love crafts, if you love journaling, if you love talking crazy, it is me. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on so that you can be notified when I upload new videos. And if you love this video or end up picking a book that I recommend that you love, give it a thumbs up. This is a way to support my channel, as this will show the YouTube algorithm that my video is liked by many and it will recommend it to a wider audience. That being said, the first book is a memoir. It's called Opposite of Fate by Amy Tan. I love this book with the whole of my heart, with the whole in my heart. It's a memoir about writing that made me appreciate books and authors and writers in a way that I have never thought I would. The first line that I read, I was like, "Ooh, I'm in for a treat." And she shares her writing process. She shares how she wrote her first book and the experience about writing the next book. She talks about being a writer of color and how they're treated in the writing community. She talks about how her relationship with her mother affected her life, and thus her writing. She shares her journey when she went to visit her native home, and it was such a treat. If you love reading, as in love reading in every sense of the word, and books, you will love and appreciate this book. And there's some things that she was saying that was like, okay, yes, preach sister. For example, she says, but we all become different readers in how we respond to books, why we need them, what we take from them. We become different in the questions that arise as we read, in the answers that we find, in the degree of satisfaction or unease we feel with those answers. We differ in what we consider about the real world and the imaginary one. We differ in what we think we can know or would want to know, and how we continue to pursue that knowledge. And she tells us why she writes, she tells us why she reads, and she writes it in this beautiful way, this deep way, raw and brittle, that makes you like just go hug your books. I was like, whew. There was a chapter that she brought in a full linguist knowledge, and I was like, okay, Emitan, you're losing me somewhere. But then she eased back, and then things went back to normal, went on enjoying this book. And she explores the fate. She explores fate, why we should not accept someone tell you that it is fate. Why should you? You know? She explores her relationship between her and her mother, and you know how it develops over time. Obviously it's a memoir, so things are not written down in chronological way, so we go back, forth, present, past, you know. And where's that chapter? She talks about writing, you know, unless until you actually read this book, you will understand what I'm saying, man. It's even marked. So she gives some of the reasons why she writes. I write stories because I have questions about life, not answers. Fiction is an intimate companion and confidant for life, I write because I have been in love with words since I was a child. I hoarded words from the Taurus and the dictionary as though they were magic stones, toys, and treasures. I write because it is the ultimate freedom of expression. Writing to me is an act of faith, a hope that I will discover what I mean by truth. I also think of reading as an act of faith. I hope I will discover something remarkable about ordinary life, about myself. And if the writer and the reader discover the same thing, if they have that connection, the act of faith has resulted in an act of magic. To me, that's the mystery and the wonder of both life and fiction. The connection between two unique individuals who discover in the end that they are more the same than they are different. And if that doesn't happen, it's nobody's fault. There's still plenty of other books on the shelf to choose from. And then there was that part she was talking about her writing process. Her first debut book was The Joy Luck Club. She tells how she wrote the first draft, finished it, and then wrote the same story, now trying to angle the story from a different point of view. And that's how she actually rewrites a story until it reaches that point. It answers the questions that she has. It tells the story of the answers of the questions she asked. She did that, and I really I was like, wow, because I read the Joy Luck Club before I read this one. So I was like, no wonder Joy Luck Club is that amazing. No wonder. And she also talks about when, for example, a debut author like Tommy Adeyemi, who wrote The Children of Blood and Bone, it was a bestseller. So many people liked it, including myself. And then came The Children of Virtual Vengeance, and then it flopped. So she shows us that rigorous process. Okay, some people are going to get instant book, so let them pass. She tells us how that rigorous process of writing book 2. Book 1 was so high selling, so loved. You have that pressure to create such a book. You have that pressure to hit the mark, and then there's that fear that either you fail or you may surpass the first book again. It made me like, maybe we should give the third book a chance if there will be a third book. So this one was an ode to writing and books, and I love this book. I need to reread it. I don't know which year or which century, but I will read it, and I highly recommend it. As a reader, as a writer, you will learn so much from this book. The next book is also a non-fiction. It's a memoir. I loved everything about this woman. It was so relatable because so many of the things that she went through, I have also gone through such, and that struggle to come on top was just profound. Every time she fell down, I was like cheering her, get back up, as in, that book is the opposite of fate. I'm obsessed with the opposite of fate. And that book is I'm the one that I want. I'm the one that I want. Margaret Cho is a comedian, among other things. Again, she's written a book, so that makes her a writer. And she explores her journey from being a small kid, to where she is, where she's comfortable with herself, where she loves herself immensely. She talks about how life in the showbiz business affected the way she sees herself, self-love, her addiction to substances, because during that high is when she will perform perfectly, how people from the same community are prejudicial to other people from the same communities, the struggles, and she talked about how she went from really hating herself to the point of ferociously loving herself, that healing was the after effect. I loved reading stories that are raw and deep, and they tell it all without hiding anything. She talks about sex, she talks about men, she talks about, her relationship with, showbiz, and her story, her comedic journey actually showed me that nothing comes easy. You have to put it all into what you're doing. You have to love it. You have to believe in yourself because you can only go so far. And it was just beautiful. And there's some things that she said that I would love to share with you because you're my people. And she says we must know who we are so we can know what we want, so we don't end up wanting the wrong thing and get it and realize we don't want it, because then it is too late. We are powerful enough that we can manifest anything into our lives. To use this power with great care and love is the secret to living a happy life. And I have so many annotations in this book because she hits things that are like, damn girl, you're correct. You know, it falls more on the comedic side, and for me I had more aha moments than haha moments. It's not that she's not funny. Oh, she's funny, but it just was an eye-opener. She was telling me that I wasn't alone in this journey, you know, and to keep on going, you know, because in the end you come out strong. And then she says self-hatred doesn't accomplish anything. It destroys everything it touches, comments upon, attacks, judges. No great deity is going to come to you in those great moments of self-loathing and drop the dirt from your rosy hobo cheeks and say, chin up, it's not so bad. You have to get yourself out of the gutter. And then she goes on and says that what use was it to follow your dreams if you only wound up miserable? Do the things that you love. Do the things that you love. And we shall close with a final remark where she says that I never would have known about love if I hadn't tried for once to love myself. When we are able to love ourselves, we open the door to more love. So much rushes in, so much rushes out. Never underestimate the power that you have in the world. Never underestimate the power that you have in the world. These two books are so beautiful, and they show also the barriers that they've broken, especially because of race in the writing community, in the showbiz community, and the fact that there's more than enough room for everyone. We especially do not have to tear each other down. We can go ahead and build each other up. So profound reads for me. I love them. The next book. People are going to India to get this book. It's from India. The next book made a profound mark in my life. I share some of the poems that I write on my Bookstagram, and there was this amazing young lady that we met through Bookstagram during the lockdown, and we talked about poetry, and she was like, you know, the poems that you read inspire me to also sit down and pen down my thoughts and my feelings. So in the end, I ended up publishing a book. I was like, go girl, go girl. And mind you, this girl is 12 going on 13. So you see, sometimes you sit down and post things and you feel like you're not getting engagement, nobody's reading your work, but this is proof that there's somebody out there reading your work. Keep doing what you're doing, keep chasing your dreams. And the next book is Labyrinth. This one is usually a tongue twister for me. Labyrinth by Dania. As the title suggests, this is about mental health mostly. She talks about depression, she talks about death, she talks about COVID-19 and all the after effects of it. She talks about, you know, loving yourself. She talks about the Grim Reaper, and it's beautiful and it's lyrical, and it has these beautiful illustrations that she herself drew. I was like, wow. It was very inspiring. She is a person who's not afraid to tackle topics that some of the young people are shy about, you know. And she talks about light versus darkness, you know. She talks about looking for someone to love, and love, loss, beauty, power is all over the book. And because it's Mental Health Awareness Month, look at that. I would love to share a poem that I loved. It's called Strings. He pulled the strings one by one, the yellow, the orange, and the white. His hands touched the familiar strings, his eyes focused on the sky. But his hands led him astray, leading him towards the blue, the grey, and the green. Screams and cries crept into his mind, full of songs and melodies of lyres. His golden eyes turned a pitch black, his white wings formed a matte black. The world had been thrown into sadness, grief, and jealousy, and so had he. This just hits, that phase during the lockdown where so many people's mental health were affected, by staying in, that lack of connection, that human touch, I just had so much fun with it. And she wrote a letter with this book when she sent it, and in the letter she quoted my poem. I was like, okay, there's somebody out there for you who's consuming your work, so please keep on going, keep on writing, keep on creating. You are worthy. Okay, the next set of books are thrillers that I've read that I've loved and I recommend. I would love to read the backlist from this author and the new releases. Please, who doesn't like new releases? Another author is Tess Gerritsen. If I'm butchering the name, I'm so sorry. And the first one is Never Say Die. This is a romantic suspense. It follows a young lady. Let me read the blurb because I read this book some time back. I just remember that it was fast-paced, it was thrilling, the romance was woo! And yes. 20 years after her father's plane crashed in the jungles of Southeast Asia, Willie Jane Maitland was finally tracking his last moves. She recognized the danger, but her search for the truth about the fateful flight was the only thing that mattered. Without knowing who to trust, Willie turns to ex-army officer turned mercenary Guy Babad. He knows the jungles like the back of his hands, but Willie can't be sure who he's really working for. As deadly assailants chase them, Willie and Guy realize they're investigating secrets people kill to protect. This one made me want to read this one. This one I loved. Fast pace again. I don't remember much of the writing style. I just know that it involves a small town. Small town stories kinda give that cottagecore vibes, and this story follows Dr. Claire Elliott just after losing her husband, decided to take the son Noah and her to a small town from New York, as she saw this is the best way and the best place to raise a son. Lo and behold, weird things started happening in this town. There are a lot of teenage angst, violence, rage going on along. So given that she's a medical doctor, she went out looking for an explanation for this murderous epidemic. And in the process, she stumbled upon an insidious evil which blighted the town's past and threatened its future. And because it involved science, and I'm a sciencey girl, I was like, ooh. Again, this is a book that I would recommend. And one of our series turned into a TV show, Rizzoli and Isles. If you don't know about it, you can go check it out. I love the series. It ended, but then again, such is life. The next book is the first book I read in May. It was the book I chose for the month. After finishing it, no, in the middle of finishing it, no, at the beginning, I was like, why did it take me so many years to read it? Okay, not so many years, just 2 years. But then again, why did I take that long? And the book is that Ember in the Ashes. The writing style is chef's kiss. I'm like, wow. Despite the heaviness in the book, that writing style is like soothing your heart so that it doesn't get too black, because the heaviness and the themes that are in this book, given that it's a young adult, is just the pacing was perfect. It was fast-paced. The story is told from two points of view in the first person narration. The story follows the Lias and Laia. And Lias comes from the, let's say, the right side of town. Laila comes from the wrong side of town. So years before, this empire was ruled by scholars. There was a coup, And the marshals were like, no, no, it's our turn. They overtook the empire, and they're the ones who rule it now. That being said, scholars became the scum of the earth. They're the slaves, they are the oppressed, they are those who are killed around without abandon. The story from Elias' side tells us of all they undergo. He is in a school where they make warriors, basically. This martial community is out to create warriors, And then there's that elite group called masks. Now these ones are the most vicious from this school, from this community. And Elias is a mask, Laia is a scholar. So she tells this story in a way that you'll understand why Elias is how he is and how they come to be such people, the struggles they undergo. Same way that she talks about, she explores Laila's point of view, all that the community does, all that they've gone through, the oppression, the slavery. I cannot say more because I will spoil for you, but it is fast-paced, it is beautiful. Themes of oppression, slavery, freedom, death, violence are really rampant in the book, but it's been told in a way that it will not weigh you down. It'll actually make you want to fly. I am so freaking serious. And the next book in this list that I will highly recommend is Legend by Margaret Cho. It's a dystopian. I read it a while back. I need to finish the series because I remember the book was again fast-paced. If my thriller and all my books are fast-paced, the storyline is mwah. It explores deep themes. The commentary questions things about the human nature and our acts. Please sign me up. And this is what this book is. It follows Day. From different worlds, June and Day have no reason to cross paths until June's brother is murdered and Day becomes the prime suspect. In a shocking turn of events, the two uncover what has really brought them together and the sinister lengths to which their country will go to keep its secrets. So, Day is this outlaw, wants a revolution because he feels that his community is way too oppressed. Why are they being treated differently than the elite? Why? What makes them different, And there is this side, having had an easy background, having the prospect of a beautiful, bright future, stumbles about secrets that really makes her think that it's a dream, because you've been raised up to know the government does things like this, and you end up finding out it is totally opposite. Makes you question everything about your life, and that's what happened to June. So they explore the point of view of these different characters and their world and the belief system of this place, and seeing the difference and contrast, and seeing them coming together is just beautiful. I need to read the next one. I don't know where I'll get the next one. I need to read the next one. The last book is Amy Tan's. We started the video with her, we're going to end with her, and this book is The Choila Club. I had a bit of issues, starting this book. When you're trying to read a new author's work, by a new author, I mean a new author to you. You have never tried their work. But the last page, I was like, I feel like I've lost friends because it was so profound. She explores that mother-daughterhood relationship. She explores motherhood. She explores the difference in culture between the Chinese and the Chinese-born people in America. She explores, some of the traditions of the Chinese, and it was just beautiful. Let me just read the blurb if you're really interested in this book. It says, in 1949, 4 Chinese women, recent immigrants to San Francisco, began meeting to eat dim sum, play mahjong, and talk. United in sheer loss and hope, they called themselves the Choila Club. With wit and sensitivity, Amy Tan examines this sometimes painful, often tender, and always deep connection between these 4 women and their American-born daughters. As each reveals her secrets, trying to unravel the truth about her life, the strings become more tangled and more intertwined. And it was heavy. It was heavy. It was heavy. I feel there's another book that I read from an Asian American. that I really enjoyed, but my mind seemed to be going some other places. I read it in an ebook form, so if I remember, I will share it on the community page. So all in all, these are some of the books that I will highly recommend for Asian American Pacific Island Heritage Month. I hope I said that correctly. And these come highly recommended. Yes, yes. Books, books, books. Again, what would we do without books? That being said, is there a book from an Asian American Pacific Island author that you've read and you'll recommend to me, especially given my taste that was exposed here? Please leave it in the comment section below. You know, might find my next great read. And I hope that you get to read more books that will give you pleasure, to take off the pressure of life. And until our next video, Asian American. And given that it's AAPI month, the full the full name of